Let's dive into this, because this is an issue that we discussed a couple of times last week. Why these two agencies are feuding, what they're doing about it, how they're collecting information, and I think probably pretty importantly what this means overall in terms of the strategy we take in the months to come. If things get worse here in the United States, are we prepared?
Well, this has been a long-standing dispute or discomfort between the administration and the CDC, from what I can glean talking to people on the inside. There's been frustration with the CDC in terms of the inability to get timely information and accurate information out of the agency. Some of that's legitimate, probably some of it's a little stretched. But the final straw came last week when some administration officials had asked the CDC to give them data on the age breakdown of people being hospitalized in the South for COVID, and CDC told them that they wouldn't be able to provide that information until late August or September, and that's when the decision was made to more fully take away data aggregation from CDC. CDC would still be involved in analyzing the data, but they'd no longer be the lead agency collecting the data. I still think a preferable path would have been to try to support the CDC. I think the CDC should be the lead agency, but clearly we need to invest more in their capabilities to both collect and disseminate information. We're at a point right now where some hospitals are literally faxing in information to the agency. The agency needs to rebuild its data systems. And to the agency's credit, they've asked for resources for many years to do that, and so this has been something that's been recognized for a long time.
The Washington Post had an article this weekend that said the White House is seeking to block billions of dollars for states to conduct testing and do contact tracing, and then also additional money to go to the CDC and to be used internationally to try and fight this pandemic. The Post said that this is creating problems even with Republican senators at this point. What do you hear on this? What do you think about this? And just in terms of what should be done with the testing policy, should that be a national policy, or should that be something where the states pick it up themselves?
Well, I've talked to people on Capitol Hill, and I think the funding is going to be there. Congress is going to provide that funding, including Republicans. I talked to Republican staffers on the Senate side. I think in part this reflects some of the frustrations we talked about at the outset. I think the White House and others in the administration have some frustrations with the CDC and don't want to provide more resources and sort of double down on the agency's role right now. But it also reflects an inability to come up with a plan to really reform the agency, because a funding bill would be a good place to try to come up with a different approach to how CDC engages on these issues, and they haven't been able to do that. Obviously something hard to do in the setting of a crisis, to try to rebuild aspects of an agency that have been long ignored, but that would be probably the preferable way to go. I just think it reveals that there are a lot of gaps in our preparedness, and this isn't a sort of new problem. This has been building over many years, and that was sort of the point of my op-ed this morning. The intelligence community has been recommending in public documents for many years that we treat the risk of pandemics as a national security threat on par with the risk from weapons of mass destruction and cyber attacks and terrorism, and we haven't done that. We haven't invested in infrastructure, so we don't have the ability to surge testing capacity in this country. It took us months and months to get where we are, and we still don't have enough testing. We don't have the domestic capacity to manufacture vaccines and biologics at the scale that we would need heading into the fall, particularly the biological drugs, the antibody-based drugs, and we don't have the data systems we need to both collect and track the ebbs and flows of this epidemic. My colleague at Johns Hopkins, Caitlin Rivers, has proposed the idea of creating a national tracking service similar to the National Weather Forecasting Service that would be in charge of collecting and disseminating information and analyzing it. We don't have that kind of capability here in the United States.